going on, guys? It is MurderInc here, back again with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to be doing our second installment of the hardest hitting champions in the entire game of Raid Shadow Legends. I had the first video that I just released. We talked about AoE or Area of Effect champions, and that was a lot of fun. I had you guys guess who you thought was going to be the hardest hitting, then I showed you who was. All of this is mathematically broken down. I had help from my good friend and my clan leader, Infinite, and he actually baited me into kind of making a tier list. I even caught myself saying the word tier multiple times. Have no fear, that's not going to be the case. Here it's going to be pretty straightforward, showing you the top 5 hardest hitting single target damage dealers in the entire game. Doesn't matter if it's an A1, A2, or A3 ability. If you enjoy content like this, feel free to subscribe, like this video, do what you gotta do. I love doing this and I hope you guys do as well. So with that being said, the first thing we're going to do is, who do you guys think, in your opinion, is going to be the top 5 damage dealers or just the number 1 single target damage dealer in this game? I was pretty shocked when I saw the list, I'm not going to lie to you guys, and when I did see it, it was pretty cool. It's a champion that I personally always wanted to see in action, and that champion is going to be Little Miss Annie, champion that I pulled a long time ago. A lot of people were disappointed for me when I pulled her. She looks incredible, very spooky. I love the claws, love the open heart she has, but she's actually the hardest hitting single target champion in the game. And for those of you who didn't see the first video, where am I getting this information from? Obviously I just said Infinite, but this assumes everything's going to be the same across all of the champions. Same attack, crit damage, crit rate. The enemies they're hitting is the same, defense, buffs, debuffs, all that good stuff. Everything's equaled out, and he did the math, and Little Miss Annie is number 1 for this. It is going to be her A3 ability, so let's go ahead, watch a clip of this in action in Dragon Stage 25. It's so much fun to watch, so let's get right into it. Alright guys, so as you can see, we have Little Miss Annie in the first slot with her aura, Arbiter for attack up, defense down and weaken from Lydia here. We have the awesome duo of Bad Alcazar as well as Gergo making it as much damage as possible. And now we get to see the A3 ability from Little Miss Annie right here, and I think it's only going to be one hit, if I'm honest with you. I don't even think the second hit's going to go off. Exactly what I thought. 449,000 damage. A lot of fun, really cool to see. Let's kind of jump ahead here. There's just the A1 ability there, nothing special. I do want to show this again once we get to the Stage 25 Dragon itself, so we can see what kind of boss damage we have going on here. So we have the defense down and weaken once again. We do have attack up. Here we're going to get that boost from Bad Alcazar. That damage boost now from Gergo. It's going to boost the turn meter, so Annie gets a turn. Now let's take a look at this A3 again. Ignoring defense, such a cool ability. Watch what happens. 560,000, 426,000. Look at that. Really quick, I'm going to pause it here. Look at this decrease enemy max health that did happen here. Granted, I'm using insane gear on this champion. Don't expect these numbers. This is simply for the showcase, but I really did want to emphasize the point because I love big numbers. I know a lot of people that watch me enjoy big numbers as well, but this is just insane damage to see from this dragon here. And a lot of people have asked me, can you use this in Scarab? You can. I would definitely recommend using a destroy set on Little Miss Annie if you wanted to make this work properly. While we did get a chunk of damage here, like I said, the gear is very high. I set this up strictly for showing damage. You're probably not going to do that in this Scarab boss, so these are all things to consider. She does work. She will decrease the max health. You do have to burn through a lot of it, so keep that in mind, but that's the showcase for Little Miss Annie with that A3 ability hitting extremely hard. She's a lot of cool parts of her kit. If someone kills her and she is revived, she actually gets revived and instantly gets a turn and goes for pretty much revenge at whoever killed them, and it does a ton of damage. So that's another cool part about her kit. So she's the number 1 damage dealer. Were you expecting that? I'm pretty confident. I don't think anyone's going to say, yeah, I knew it was her all along, because I definitely have not had that feeling, and I've tested many champions, if not all of the champions here. So I'm definitely curious to look in the comments at who you guys actually picked for your number 1. Maybe it's another champion coming up. So let's go ahead and move on to the number 2 champion on the list. Alright guys, for the second champion we have on our list here for the hardest single target damage dealer is going to in fact be Elder Scarg, another champion that I've had a lot of fun with. I've fooled around with him in the arena. The fact that he has that fear debuff that's so annoying, incredible base speed, a lot of interesting things in his kit with reflecting damage, but we are going to be talking about the multi-hit ability he does have that hits more times if there are debuffs on the enemy here. All of that damage totaled up together, that is going to be taking the second place on this scale of who is the hardest damage dealer in the game for single target. So let's go ahead and do another run on stage 25 for Dragon and see what Elder Scarg has to offer. Alright, so here we are in the run, pretty much the same exact setup we did have before with Little Miss Annie. We have Gergo here, we have Arbiter for increased attack, Lydia of course for that defense down, weaken, and speed increase. She has made these showcases so much easier. I remember doing this with champions like War Maiden and Tyrell when I first started doing videos like this, so this is awesome to see for sure. Now we're going to have Elder Scarg, and once again he's going to use Hunt the Marked. This is going to be the ability. It does hit up to 6 times, and we only got 3 of the 6 hits available when showcasing it on these trash waves here. So we are going to once again skip ahead to the final dragon. I don't know why I say final dragon like there's something final about it, but we're going to go ahead and skip ahead to the end boss here so we can see what this guy can do. Maybe he's going to get another turn. Let's see. His A1 ability hitting for 196,000. Definitely not too bad at all. So let's skip ahead, get to the dragon. I think we did actually miss it. Okay, so this is just before it happens. We have attack up from Arbiter once again, defense down, weaken, followed by Battle. Then Gergo's going to wrap everything up, close it on off here. Another turn meter boost, and we're going to see the 6 hit happen against the stage 25 dragon. Let's see what we got here. So if you remember before, keep in mind here, this is a really good example because I was able to replicate very close as far as statistics go for Little Miss Annie to Elder Scarg. Now yes, there's going to be a variance in Helm Smasher procs, and there's obviously a variance in crit damage. It can be high, it can be low, that damage does fluctuate, but try to remember where the health of the dragon was in the last run when I tested this. And here you can see Little Miss Annie did have a slight edge, but this is a pretty good gauge so far to kind of measure who the hardest damage dealers are. Obviously this isn't what Infinite did, he did this all in a spreadsheet, so it was mathematical, but just goes to show that you can actually replicate things like this if you are within a decent margin in game. So now that we went over that, going over the number 3 spot for the single target champions of this game for damage, we do have Inquisitor Chmeleo. He was part of a very popular, I guess, arena meta, if you want to call it that, or Platinum Arena on reset. This guy completely shreds. I did do a video, we are going to show you footage of that while I'm talking about him. So he basically has an ability that hits over and over again. It does ignore defense, and not a lot of people really understood just how hard this guy hit. He does scale with having buffs on himself for the ability we're talking about here, which is going to be his A2 ability. So a lot of people when this first came out kind of got an idea, didn't fully understand, as most people wouldn't when you just read a kit, not having too much background on it. One thing that's very important here is conditional damage in this game. As we saw from the AoE damage dealers, it's always going to be on top. There are very few cases, actually there's no case that I can personally think of, but I want to be correct here because I haven't fact checked that, where conditional damage will always be higher if it's on a champion than any other type of skill in this game, because you get so much benefit from it. So when this first came out, people said, okay, this is a cool champion, he has a single target ability. Now, what I did was I put him, like I always do, in the best possible gear I had for this video. I said, let's go pedal to the metal, let's floor it. I showed everyone the damage and they were like, okay, this guy's something special. He's not your one trick artist where he just hits really hard here. There's a lot of potential here, and I didn't come up with it. I did not know it was going to become a thing. However, I want to say a week or 2 weeks later, he was inserted into this, I believe it was Arbiter, Krisk, and then double Inquisitor arena meta that was extremely successful. You can even use Kymar instead of Arbiter, but that was a very popular team for Platinum Arena on reset because it was just shredding everybody. The double Rotos teams had no chance because it is a multi-hit, and as you can see from the runs in this video, the damage scales extremely well with the amount of buffs that you do in fact place on this champion. So Inquisitor Chmeleo is going to take the pretty much bronze medal for the third hardest single target damage dealer in the entire game. Alright, now moving on to champion number 4 of this top 5 list, we do have the Void legendary from the Ogren tribes, Gergo the Augur. This is a rather interesting champion to see on this list because he does apply a freeze debuff to everybody. And if you don't know this, maybe you do, maybe you don't, when you freeze a target, they do take reduced damage. So you might be thinking, how is this guy number 4 if he is taking reduced damage? The reason is because he places an extra hit if the target's frozen, which is going to be a condition. However, on top of that, if you know there is a mastery this champion can in fact have, where it does increase damage based on the target being frozen. So let's go ahead and take him through a Dragon 25 run. He was a little bit harder than the other champions to gear for a showcase in this video. As we can see, this isn't a pre-recording, this is me doing it live this time. So Arbiter, Bad L, extra turn. And my point here is he does have over 200 accuracy, so I did take away quite a bit of damage from him. So if the numbers aren't as high as some of the other champions, it's simply because of the condition that's required to him. And it does bring up a good point, and you'll see this once I go over the last champion on this list. He's definitely the hardest champion to gear of all of these, simply because he needs the target to be frozen to actually initiate how hard he hits with his A3 ability, which is Avalanche. This is the one we're talking about that does hit the hardest here. Now, to the contrary point, he does have the fact that he removes 2 random buffs from all enemies, extremely strong ability, along with this AoE freeze that we're going to see here. So he froze everybody here because I did, like I said, have to gear him with accuracy. Now let's use this Avalanche ability. Let's just pick this champion on the right here. Not really sure who it is, I'm sorry about that, but let's go ahead and see what kind of damage we are looking at from Gergo. So 260,000, 178,000. First hit, probably Helm Smasher. Second hit, definitely not Helm Smasher. Unfortunately, I can't go any further and show you what this would do to the dragon, obviously, because we cannot CC, we cannot freeze the dragon. If we could, that would be awesome. You would have a lot cooler teams if we could stun it, sleep, so on and so forth. That's a totally separate topic, but this is the kind of limited showcase I can show you for Gergo. Now, on the contrary to me showing this in PvE, if you wanted to move to Arena, I would say Gergo has a much higher value than a lot of the other champions we showed here, because like I said, it does provide that AoE CC on top of hitting hard, but ultimately he is going to be an extremely hard champion to gear when you think about it. It needs 100% crit rate for Arena. He needs not crazy, but a decently high amount of accuracy. He needs crit damage, attack, speed. Everything starts to weigh up and you start to think to yourself, how am I supposed to get all of these stats? Don't ask me, I have no idea, but if you really wanted to, maybe in a year, if anyone's still playing this game, people have perfect gear. This guy's going to shine because he scales extremely well with gear, that I can tell you for sure. Alright, now that I went over that, the final champion of the evening, champion number 5 for the hardest hitting single target, is going to be Royal Huntsman, which is probably the most widely accepted champion that a lot of people probably would have guessed being somewhere in this top 5 list. If you're not aware what he does, he has this awesome A3 ability called Dead Aim. 5-turn cooldown, attacks one enemy, will ignore 100% defense. This eliminates the need for Helm Smasher. You can now use the Flawless Execution Mastery, which gives increased crit damage. You don't need Savage gear. It makes him so easy to gear. He has pretty good base attack. He has incredible base speed, which is very key here. You can use him for the defense down if the attack is critical. Personally, I wouldn't do that. I think the A3 ability is pretty much the ace in the hole here, but let's go ahead and get right into this. In case you're wondering what kind of stats, I was able to gear this champion very well, much better than Gergo. We have 7,235 attack. That's a lot of attack. 92% crit rate because we are fighting Dragon stage 25. He is going to be strong affinity, so I do get that bonus crit rate. So it's 100. If you're seeing this and you're not building it specifically for force affinity, never build anything under 100% crit rate if you don't have an aura. Like I said, strong affinity or that increased crit rate buff. And finally, 309% critical damage. So what are we going to do now? Let's take this for a spin. Another addition he does have is we have the aura here, increases spirit ally attack in all battles by 38%. So I am expecting an extremely high number from this champion. Alrighty, so let's head into the first wave here. We have attack up here. I am actually excited. I haven't tested this yet, so this is going to be the first time I'm seeing his damage with the gear that I literally just put on him in between shooting this video here. Definitely excited. So let's go ahead, use this A3. We will do the right champion once again. And we're not looking for any Helm Smasher proc, so this is just going to be straight damage with that fluctuation, so let's get it. 613,000 damage. Now you can definitely see why he is number 5 on this list. A lot of the other champions hit a little more than half as hard but have multi-hit abilities, or your Elder Scarg, and you do hit all of these champions pretty much 6 times, which is great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom right ahead to the dragon here so we can see how hard he is hitting against the dragon. Alright guys, so here we are at the dragon here, starting again from scratch. Attack up, followed by Battle, Lydia's defense down and weaken with speed, with strengthen. For some reason Gergo has had enough of this and doesn't want to go. This throws everything off. Do I try to cycle again and risk it? We're risk takers here. That was the A1, 151,000. There's no way I get a second turn here. 0 chance it happens. Yeah, that turn meter boost was not enough. So I'm going to take some damage. It's unfortunate, you hate to see it. Maybe I pull it off? I don't think so. Maybe. He gets a turn. Believers, how are we doing? Thank you. Okay. A3 ability, dead aim against stage 25 dragon. Let's see how hard this ability is going to hit with all of the buffs. Do we have everything? We have poisons, Gergo, attack up, defense down, weaken. We are good. Let's get it. 660,000 damage. You love to see it. It's so much damage, and this guy's just a great champion. Alright guys, that's going to conclude the hardest hitting single target champions. We have 5 of them. Give me your thoughts, give me your feedback. Were you expecting all 5 of these champions? Which champion shocked you the most? I'm definitely curious. I think for me, it has to be Little Miss Annie at the number 1 spot. I was not expecting that at all when Infinite gave me the numbers. So I'm interested to hear who you guys thought was going to be number 1 and how shocked were you that it was who it was. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this content, once again, like the video, subscribe, make sure to comment, and I will see you all in the next installment where I'm going to be going over the hardest hitting default skill, pretty much the A1 of all of the champions in the game. Really excited about that one. Another video that is going to shock you. Try to get your guesses ready for that video, and I will see you then.